Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to see my talk. Just to make things interesting, I'm actually going to ask for a little bit of participation from all of you for 10 seconds. So please, try with me some very simple things. I promise not to overtax you just after lunch. It's going to be small things. So let's assume this stage that you see is a straight, flat, sandy beach. Let's try to imagine summer, because we're in the UK, so we can only imagine it. Let's say I'm an ice cream seller, and I want to be somewhere here on this stretch of beach so as to maximize my potential of capturing customers, okay? And I'm the only one here. There's no one else that's selling ice cream. So should I be here, this end of the beach? Should I be in the center? Or should I be on the extreme other end? Remember, people can come to me from both sides, and this is a flat beach with no special preference for selling anywhere. Any of you here want to give it a shot where you think I should be to sell my ice creams the best way? In the center. Yes, because it's equidistant for people from both sides. But to be fair, if they really wanted ice cream and it's very hot and summery because you are thankfully in a nice hot place, if you were, then you could actually be a little bit anywhere else as well, because they don't really have a choice. You're the only one and they'll come to you. But yeah, it'd be great and ideal if you were here. So that's one. Now, tomorrow morning, Anthony, who just participated and a really good friend, decides to make an ice cream cart as well. He's like, Joyeeta is going and selling ice cream on that beach, and she's doing so well, and she's the only one. And summer's going up. I'm just going to go get my cart out there. And Anthony turns up in the morning, and there's another ice cream cart, okay? And I'm kind of here or here, because, hey, it was my beach. And I'd say, whoa, Anthony, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm here too. Well, we're in business. And Anthony's now trying to figure out where he should be. So these are the choices. I was here, a little bit away from the center, because I could play. And he's thinking if he should be here, or smack in the center, which I'm not, a little bit, or maybe I am, or at the other end. Where is Anthony going to place himself? People can come from both sides. Where? Right next to me. Yeah. That tends to happen. So the socially optimized solution, SOS, would have been both of us trying to occupy different parts of the beach so you get equidistant customers from both sides. But it turns out SOS, or socially optimized solutions, aren't what human beings do. We are very competitive. If we do a socialized optimized solution, it turns out tomorrow morning, Anthony's going to wake up a bit earlier than me and get a spot more towards the center before I come. And I'm going to do it the day after, and we will jostle with each other until we end up right next to each other in the center. This is the Nash equilibrium. That's what game theorists call it. Now, interesting. Let's complicate this a little bit. Now, we are right next to each other. He's getting people from here. I'm getting people from here. We have this unsaid understanding. We're both going to do ice creams here. But something interesting happens. Tomorrow morning, Mark Bruno, who's right behind Anthony Slumbers, he decides that he's going to make, I don't know, hot dogs. He's like, everyone's doing ice cream. I'm going to do hot dogs. He just walks in with this big van full of hot dog carts and strange American promotions and completely different beast. Where is he going to go? Is he going to go right next to us? Is he going to be at the other end of the beach? Because remember, this is a slightly different product. It's not an ice cream. He's not directly competing. Or maybe he is for the share of wallet. Or maybe he's not. If it's not summer, does it make a difference where he is? And if it is summer, does it make a difference where he is? Actually, it gets very complex. So a very clever gentleman called Hotelling did this spatial competition modeling where he discussed how location dependence is a real thing. Where you place a physical product or service, not necessarily retail, from an office space to a real factory to I don't know, a football match, almost everything is impacted upon by where it is placed and what access to resources, time, people it has. And that is why having data is really important to locate things, understand their future, their probability of success, their failure, and all else in between. So how do we do that? How do we model this? How do we figure out what type of factors are actually going to impact you when you are in a certain position? So, well, simple response, it's data. You need a ton of data, and you need to put it all in together to figure out where you should be and how. Gut feel, to a huge extent, actually works, although a lot of people will tell you gut feel isn't the best way to do things. It is, because what it really is your mind that has actually processed a lot of data through information and experience, and it knows what the solution is. That is how gut feel works. But it doesn't work all the time. What if you don't have that much experience, or the world is a very changing place? Then your gut feel wouldn't work. That's when you need real data. And that's where we at Gyana found something really contrasting, coming from a background of deep tech and physics, not from a background of PropTech, which is where I've landed up recently. From a fundamental background in STEM, it was always very natural to me that for almost everything you look at data, and you look at control, and you figure out what's the right answer. It's not what you think, it's what the data reveals. And when we came to this problem of how positions actually impact success and failure of places, we found there's so much data out there, terabytes and petabytes, that can actually tell you what's going on and what to do. But it is so surprising that no one was using it. They were still going with gut feel, and a lot of them were going wrong. And we were thinking, why not? There is so much out there, you can just use it and you can figure it out. And then we found out why. Because it's really hard to harness data. It's really hard to process meaningful signals out of it, because you're looking for not a needle in a haystack, but probably a haystack that's the size of the sun. So it's really hard. And then more importantly, once you make sense of it, then what? What are you going to do with that? So one of the things we really focused on is people mobility data. How people move, how do they interact with physical places, how long do they spend, what type of areas and heat map distributions they come from, how does this quantify, and how does this change with regard to businesses, physical entities, commercial working spaces, hotels, spas, town centers, smart city developments, anything as small as a store, as big as half of a country. How does all of this people mobility data impact decisions that you will make at different levels of geo-positioning? So that's what we do at Gyana. We have a tool that provides human mobility-based trends, and it tells you how people interact with places. For instance, this very place that you're sitting in, the Business Design Center in the heart of London, you'd be able to go to the Gyana tool right now, and you'd type in, I don't know, Business Design Center, and you'd be able to see the amount of people who've come here, the cyclicality over time, year upon year, week upon week, month upon month, the average distance people travel to get here. Did that distribution get impacted because of today? You might be able to see it in the weekly average. You will be able to see what type of professions and gyms and shopping places they've visited over time, and how does that profile change? And does this center have any real competitors? Are there similar places that these people could have also gone to, and they have in the last 12 months? What are those places? What type of overlaps do you have? How many of you here have actually not come here from UK, but from abroad? And did that change because of an event that we did last month, where the number of people who came in were more from abroad than local? And all of these decisions are going to impact the valuation, the pricing, the future of this event, this place, the operators, the real estate investors, and even the capital markets that are connected with it. So that's in a very small sentence what we do. Gyana reveals how people interact with places. So far, we have covered 1.4 billion devices across the planet. What does that mean? It means that we work with cell phone and handset data, and the amount of data that we have has crossed 1.4 billion people that own these handsets. And we cover countries like UK. We recently launched in USA. We're quite a bit active in Sweden. We're active in Germany and Russia, and we're about to launch in Australia and India and Singapore as well. So, what can Gyana do for you? Now, I don't know where you are sitting in this value chain. Are you a person who makes decisions for real assets? Are you a person who's an asset manager who has a whole portfolio of different things? Are you a REIT that actually purchases brands that have physical presences? Or are you an investor that's looking to invest in, I don't know, in micro hotels somewhere in the world? No matter what part of the decision-making supply chain you're in, you will find that Gyana will be able to quantify your decisions and supplement or maybe negate your gut feel with real data. what is really going on with this place and what is most likely to happen in the next 6 to 12 months or 24 months or 30 months. And that is a real game changer. In this world of uncertainty where we cannot quantify the future decisions of millennials, the definition of places, this can be everything. And this can be the difference between making a very successful decision and a kind of okay decision and a completely wrong decision. So this is one of our examples. You'd be using Gyana to figure out, I don't know, I've picked this Blue Water shopping mall. You'd be able to see the catchment area of people who visited here over time, the distances they've traveled, the type of neighborhoods they're in, the distribution of age and profession, etc. You could use Gyana to analyze and compare different assets. For instance, if you wanted to compare a certain neighborhood in Manchester to a neighborhood in Leeds because you're planning to figure out where you should put in this particular brand, you could actually do that, take both of them and see what is happening, what type of people go here versus there, how is their cyclicality, how's their seasonality, how do they compete with each other. And this is a kind of use case that we found not just with asset managers. A lot of our customers are kind of a little bit public sector as well, so smart city planning, urban design, things like that. You could also do something very interesting if you're interested in investing or making capital off of capital markets and you're interested in publicly trading entities like REITs or even private. This can be a very useful tool because you see the number of people going to a particular place is a leading indicator. Sales is a lagging indicator. You get it at the end of the quarter and you kind of try to quantify it, but what needed to happen has already happened. But footfall is live. It will tell you where M&S is going today. So that's us. 3 of us are in this room together after a long time, actually, since we started. And we are the exec team behind it. This company was formed in Oxford, where a couple of us were studying and doing our postgrads a few years ago. And for some great reason, we decided to move from tech to PropTech. It's been a good move so far. That's us. And Enrico comes from the market side. He's been a PropTech entity for a while. And he thought, let's help out these STEMets and teach them a bit about the market. We're kind of global, and we've worked with global brands and companies across the world. Although real estate is almost 50% of our deal flow, we actually work quite a lot with finance as well. So majority of our customers are also banks, credits, mortgage, insurance, private equity, hedge funds, both. We basically work with both buy and sell side. These are some of our advisors, from the co-founder of Twitter and Medium to Audrey, who was the MD of Blackstone and now heads Core State Capital, to Duke Long, who I think all of us know, Ely, who was here today earlier, I was told, and Ami, who was speaking just a little bit before me, I hear. They're all our advisors and helping us shape and take the company forward. And we also have some fantastic partnerships, one of which I must definitely mention is Dacia. Woohoo, to the Dacia people at the back. So if you actually log into the Dacia platform, you'll also be able to find some of the Gyana variables present that will help you understand and value properties better. And we have a ton of those partnerships in the finance world as well. If you're looking into acquisition of assets, if you're using portals of global information, you will find that there are Gyana buttons coming up now where you can actually press it and see the People Mobility Index live. And that's kind of us. I think the Q&A wouldn't probably happen, but you can catch me off stage. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for listening to me, how people mobility trends affect economic decisions.
Thank you. Before you run off, we do have time for one question.
Okay.
So who wants to take that one? Anyone in particular? Joyeeta is around, so if you do think of that question, definitely come and speak to her. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
No worries.